So this is the mole worksheet. Make sure you have a pen and your work, and you're going to correct it. Number 1, 2 moles, 2 grams should end up with 88 grams because there's 44 grams in a mole when you add up CO2 in the periodic table, plus 1. B, 2 moles to number of molecules multiplied by Avogadro's number should end up with 1.2 times 10 to the 24th molecules. It's not worth a point, just make sure you have it correct. Number 2, 25 grams to moles should end up with 0.25 moles, 1 point. B, 0.25 times Avogadro's number, 1.5 times 10 to the 23rd. They call these formula units because it's a metal and a polyatomic ion, so it's an ionic compound. They'd call it molecules if it was a molecular or covalent substance, which would be all nonmetals. But since this is ionic, they just call them formula units. And letter C, atoms in that. Notice there's a 3 for the oxygen, so you have to multiply by 3 oxygens for every 1 formula unit of CaCO3. End up with 4.5 times 10 to the 23rd atoms of oxygen. That's worth 1 point. 3 points so far. Number 3, moles to grams, 43.9 grams of NaCl. Uh, 0.75 moles then to formula units would give you 4.5 times 10 to the 23rd formula units of NaCl. That one's not scored. Number 4a, there are 2 oxygen atoms per molecule of CO2, so 1.5 times 2 is 3 times 10 to the 23rd atoms of oxygen. Letter B, moles of CO2, molecules to moles of CO2, 1 point for 0.25 moles of CO2. Letter C, CO2 times 44 grams gives you 11 grams in the sample. That's 44C. That one was worth a point. 5 molecules of NH4, 3 moles times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd gives you 1.8 times 10 to the 24th molecules. E, atoms of hydrogen. There are 8 hydrogen atoms inside of NH4,2SO3. See this 2 right here? It distributes in with the 4, so it ends up being 8 oxygen atoms per molecule. So you end up with 1.44 times 10 to the 25th. That's worth 1 point. Grams, 3 moles. There's 116 grams in a mole. Gives you 348 grams. That one's not scored. And the last one, G, 1.8 times 10 to the 24th. 2 ammonium ions per 1 mole of the NH4,2SO3. So 2 of these NH4s in there. That gives you 3.6 times 10 to the 24th NH4s. Zooming out, replay any part that you need. You should end up with 7 points. Score yourself 7 out of 7 and give it to a trusted teammate in a class to record it face to face.